All right. What up, everybody? This your boy B Rob, and I'm back with another edition of the Random Rambles with Rob podcast. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you, the listener, for coming back each and every week, or however you listen to podcasts. If you're a first-time listener, I'd like to thank you oh so much for giving my show a try. And if anybody recommended you to me, I'd like for you to lean over and reach and give that person a crisp high five. But I understand that we're being socially conscious and we had a pandemic that was going on and everything. And you might not want to get up close on somebody and touch hands and skin and all that stuff. I mean, if you do it responsibly. Sanitize before, hit that quick high five, step back 3 to 5 feet, maybe 6. Sanitize again, then go on about your business. But if you want to be super safe, go ahead and take your social media app of choice and send them a well-crafted DM telling them thank you for recommending you to me. Speaking of social media, you can find the Random Realms with Rob on various social media platforms to include Twitter at 3R Show, Instagram at The 3R Show. You can find this interview amongst the many others on YouTube. Just search for 3R Show, and anything that I may have forgotten to mention, you can find on randomrob.com. Where you can find this cool shirt and possibly this cool hat representing for Pride Month and all that stuff. So, with that being said, I done got my business out of the way. You done heard the intro many, many times. And now I introduce my guest. I had to mull this around in my head a lot because, you know, I don't write this stuff down. I just kind of, because when you bring it up, you speak from the heart. You know, you're just putting it from your heart to your mind and you come out your mouth hole and everything. So, when I found out, I think it was around March 22nd, because that's when I sent the email. That's when I just checked it recently. I was watching professional wrestling. As you all know, I love oh so much. It's been a part of my life since as far back as I can remember. I was watching this young man. For those of you with the benefit of the visuals for this podcast, you can see the handsome gentleman and the most talented and beautiful young girl on that side of the earth sitting next to him. But for those of you listening, I have to describe what I saw. It wasn't the first time that I seen him, but what made this guy shoot to the top of my favorites list is he was getting put over on commentary as being a former Marine. Now, that was cool. That was great because I too am a Marine. But what pissed me off about it is they said former Marine. First of all, if you know, you in the know, once a Marine, always a Marine. So it chapped my behind pretty deeply that what Paul Wright would say something like that. So I got beef with him automatically. Then once I found this out, like I said, shot to the top of my list as favorites. I did some research, started going back through old interviews and everything like that, watching old matches and everything. And I revisited the first match that I ever saw him in. And that was in New Japan for New Japan Strong. I seen that freaking Spider-Man tattoo in the center of his chest, and I was like, that's an odd choice. But hey, man, you love what you love. And I was like, okay, let me check this guy out. Then I watched him perform. I seen him do all manner of things. But that was not the first time that I seen this gentleman. Oddly enough, I was playing WWE 2K18-19, something like that. And there was a creator character with the name of this man, similar tattoos. And I was like, this must be a creator wrestler for real. I never heard of this man or whatever. But flash forward to that New Japan show. I see the tattoos. I was like, wait a minute. That's that same guy. He is a real person. So joining me, a man that I have never met in person, that I don't know personally, but I feel like I've known for years. I felt like that I have served alongside, that I have mentored, that I have learned from. Joining me is one, Danny Limelight. How are you, sir?
Mi gente, what's going on, baby? Hey, we in the building. Me and my daughter Khaleesi, we here for this. Thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you so much for having me on your show. And it's funny that you bring up the 2K19 Create a Wrestler story because I did not create myself in the video game. Another fan had created me from that. They see me on the indies. I think it was 2K19. It was right after my Impact debut.
Yeah.
and they created me and they put me in the game and they sent me the pictures and stuff like that. I thought that was cool. And fast forward 2 years later, now I'm in the AEW All Elite GM mobile app. I just got announced to be part of the virtual basement wrestle code game. So we making moves, man. I'm happy to be on this show, man. What's up, baby?
Oh man, it's all good. And it's funny that you bring that up or whatever, because like legit, I was like, man, somebody made this guy up. This is just somebody's creation that came out of their mind or whatever. Because similar to what I would do, I would make a frame that I think would look good, and I just slap all kind of tattoos on them because I have very many myself and whatnot. But speaking of that, tattoos and whatnot, I
Yes.
am Groot, huh?
Yes. I have a I am Groot tattoo. I have the spider on my chest. I have a Spider-Man tattoo right here. This like reverse mirror thing is messing me up. But
The light bulb.
I have over here. Yeah, I have a lot of random tattoos, but the Marvel ones are hit close to home because I was a huge comic book fan growing up. The I am Groot is my motivational quote, though. You know, it's my I could look at it and it could mean anything that I want it to mean every day. You know what I'm saying? So funny
Yeah.
tattoos, random, but they all were put on me for a reason at the time. Mostly they don't make sense now, probably to some
Oh,
people. But
I
she laughs at them sometimes, but you know they're me. They're a part of me.
yeah, I completely understand or whatever. I mean, if I could go back in time, I wouldn't so much
Yeah,
erase these things, but I would make some adjustments for sure.
same. I'm 100% with you on that right there.
Yeah, because it all comes with independence and everything. Because I remember getting my first job and daggone making my own money for the first time and everything. And I see people that I would hang out with, just like they had tattoos. I mean, some of them were old or whatever, but they can get it legally. And I was just like, I want tattoos for whatever reason, just so I can be in with the cool crowd. And then I went with one of my friends to get he was getting a tattoo, and I went in with him, and I was chatting it up with the freaking the guy that owned the tattoo shop or one of the tattoo artists. And I was like, yeah, man. When I come in, I'm gonna get this and this and this and whatever. And he knew by me coming with the guy all the time that I was underage. So a couple weeks later, I'm working at Spencer's Gifts in the mall, and I'm just sitting there, I'm doing my thing behind the register, and your boy at the tattoo shop, he walked up in there with his little kid. And I'm sitting there behind the register. I was like, oh, this is a dude from the tattoo shop. He come in there, we chatting it up and everything. He put his stuff on the counter, and his daughter was sitting behind the counter with him, and she was like, oh, look, Pokemon cards, because Pokemon cards was popping back then.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, how much for a pack of Pokemon cards? And I put it on the counter. I was like, I forgot how much it was, but he was like, whoa, baby, we're going to get you some Pokemon cards another time. These are pretty expensive. So manager left, went in the back. I'm ringing up his stuff. I was like, your total is $21.55. Then I reach behind the counter, I grab a whole rack of Pokemon cards. I just throw them in the bag, and I was like, have a nice day. So he looked down in the bag. He looked at me. He's like, come by the shop. So that's when tattoo 1 turned into tattoo 3, tattoo 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's a cool story, though, man.
Because I hooked him up.
That's a cool story.
Now, what I say when I've served with, I've known, I've been mentored by people like you in the military. I heard a lot of your stories that you told about why you joined, which wasn't really a reason anyway. It was just almost like a dare, almost.
Yeah, almost like a challenge.
Yeah, and just some of the trials and tribulations that you've been through within the military, and which kind of which led to you leaving. And I was just like, I was listening to the stories that you was telling on I think the Military Influencer or some other podcast and everything.
Veteran Influences.
Yeah, there you go, Veteran Influences. And I was just like, yeah, I know this dude. It's just like I've been that guy. I've been in those situations, and I'm familiar with the story, just being close to people and mentoring them and talking to them and everything.
Right.
But some of the things that I wanted to talk about, you trained while you were still on active duty service, and how was that working out for you?
Yeah, it was random, but I was so good with time management that I was just literally leaving work, and driving to go train, and then I would come home sore, banged up. At the time she was 4 months old, so I was trying to be a dad too, and I was married at the time, so I was trying to be a husband. It was just so much, and then I would wake up, do it all over again, man. And then I'd be, Monday through Fridays in uniform, and then Saturdays and Sundays and Friday nights, in underwear, traveling, trying to wrestle. So it was a challenging journey, but it was fun, man. It was an experience, and it was something that I had love for and passion, so it was easy almost. It felt easy, it didn't feel like, oh, I gotta go do this because I wanted to do it. It was just grab and go,
Yeah. Now, so you're on the drill field as well.
Yes.
Now, I was at Paris Island. I was not a drill instructor. I was a black shirt instructor. So we was out there for BWT, the Rappel Tower, the Crucible. Yep. We were there doing those events.
Yeah.
And listening to you tell those stories about things that you did on the drill field and whatnot, I was just like, that makes sense to me. Because a lot of the times, especially being a black shirt instructor or whatever, we had to save some of the drill instructors from themselves. I can remember vividly because I worked event 1 on the Crucible or whatever. I forget I don't know how different they vary from West Coast to East Coast. But event 1, they do the low crawl through the tunnel. They go over the walls. They go under the freaking barbed wire. We playing the freaking soundtrack to goddamn Saving Private Ryan all god doggone day, and it's getting on my nerves. And every time I see that movie, I think about event 1.
When were you there?
I was there from, I think, I went back to Lejeune in 2013, I believe, or 2012. So I was there from 2009, in the area at least. I was there from 2006 to 2009 on the air station in Beaufort. Then I went right across the street to Paris Island. So I was there from 2009 to about 2012, I think.
You know what's crazy is I was on Paris Island as a recruit in 2009. So you might have been one of the black shirts playing the Saving Private Ryan when my drone shirts was slaying my ass on that course. I was 3rd Battalion Mike Company.
Okay.
I had Staff Sergeant Iddens was my senior drone instructor. Staff Sergeant Donnelly, Staff Sergeant Childs, and Sergeant Askew were my other instructors, and they destroyed us on the Crucible, man. So I was a Paris Island recruit, but I was a San Diego drone instructor. And so, the stories that you've heard, and there's plenty more stories that I've never told and stories that I can't tell, of the shit that went down as a drone instructor. But man, what an experience it was to just be able to mow through the fire, 350 plus Marines, take them from day 1 as a recruit all the way to graduation as a Marine, and just seeing how proud their family was and stuff like that, and seeing how much of a changed person they became. And even now, seeing their journey on Facebooks and things like that, some of my recruits now are sergeants going to be drill instructors. So it's insane.
Yeah. And the allure of the drill instructor as well, because not only have I got to work alongside of drill instructors and see them do their work or whatever, I have a small, minute place in their training because they come see me at the Rappel Tower because I ran the Rappel Tower. So it's crazy because I see them before they actually don the hat and be that drill instructor at the Rappel Tower, and a lot of them aren't the same because they come there and they holding that rope.
Yeah.
They're getting in the L and everything, getting ready to run down that wall, and they just and then I see them about a week or 2 later, and then they out there yelling and being hardcore and stuff. I was like, man, you was just up here trembling and knocking your knees the other week.
It's like that you say that when I was in DI school. So I graduated number 1 at DI school. I was an honor graduate from DI school, and as a drone instructor, I was, even before the Marine Corps and even during the Marine Corps before the wrestling, I was always super athletic, super shit, like high risk taker. Like I lived for that adrenaline shit. And so as a drone instructor, my chiefs, my seniors, like the XOs and the series commanders, whenever they needed somebody to like demonstrate rappel, demonstrate the obstacle courses, the confidence courses, because the drill instructors are afraid of the A-frame. You know, they're afraid of like certain, some people have fear of heights. I always was the rabbit. I was always the one. Okay, Staff on Rivera, go test this out. Go demonstrate what it's supposed to look like, because I was so good at that stuff. And so I would always go up there and set the bar of what it's like to run through the course and things like that. And so it's crazy. But there were some drill instructors where they were like, hey, you're gonna demonstrate the A-frame today. And they're like, oh man, just have Rivera do it. He does it way better. Like they'll just have me do it that way. If I fly through it real fast, the recruits see it and they're like, oh shit, and then when they go up there and they're struggling, it makes them respect the drill instructors more.
Yeah. Just the knowledge of getting to be able to peek behind the curtain of what the drill instructor actually has to go through before he becomes a drill instructor, especially the freaking the junior and everything and whatnot. It's just the hazing continues after, even though you already put the campaign cover on and whatnot. And just watching some of that stuff, I was like, man, I've seen some drill instructors get treated worse than recruits at time. And I was like, yeah,
that's the crappy part about things, is that there's still always going to be those bullies, those people that are going to try to use their power or their rank or their where they are in a company to try to like bully other people and make other people feel less of themselves. I never let it get to me. I always let it go in one ear out the other. I brush it off, keep grinding. I just try to treat people how I want to be treated.
Yeah. So being a teacher of many, being a drill instructor, being a Marine Corps martial arts instructor, being a corporal course instructor, Lance Corporal seminars. I mean, you ran the gamut to teach and sharpen these tools for the Marine Corps and whatnot.
Yes.
For me personally, when I was getting ready to get out, they sent me back to my schoolhouse. I'm transportation. I'm Motor T. So I had to go to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, the place where I was trained to be a Motor T operator. And I think that was probably all the places I've been the best duty station, besides it being in a shitty geographical location.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best places that I've been, because I got to get them when they got done with training, and I was like their last leg before they went into the fleet. So what I enjoyed about teaching was getting them before they made that crucial step into pretty much adulthood, and be like, hey man, I was here 16 years ago, same place that you were sitting right now. I mean, upgraded, of course. And just telling them, hey man, if you're getting stationed in Lejeune, watch out for these car lots, watch out for daggone driftwood right out the front gate, all these things and everything. So what I asked to you is, what was it like? What was the feelings that you were getting, teaching and leading all these Marines and stuff?
So for me, I just, for some reason, I always had that natural born leader in me. I always had that leadership instinct, wanting to be in the front, wanting to set the bar, wanting to, create the example for others to emulate. And I think that as a Marine, it was easy for me because I was in shape, physically fit. My uniforms always looked tight. I got 2 haircuts a week. I shaved my face every day. I was squared away, locked on. I knew all my knowledge, you know what I'm saying? So when I was, a sergeant, before I went to go be a drill instructor, it was the first time that I taught corporal's course. And before I was a sergeant, as a corporal, I had started to become a volunteer youth sports coach. So I was coaching the youth on Camp Pendleton. I coached basketball and baseball for 4 summers. And in my last year of coaching, I coached my daughter's baseball team. That was the last team I ever coached. So I always loved to coach, to teach, to mentor, to inspire. So then when I went to go be a drill instructor, and I was getting these kids fresh off of high school, from the ages of 18 to 27 or whatever it was. I think one time we had a recruit that was like 20, that was like 30 or something like that. I think the cap was 30 at the time. Can't fully remember. But all these recruits, and now some of them are 17, 18, fresh out of high school, don't know any better. Some of them are in their 20s, so they're grown and they still don't know any better. Now we're trying to break them down, build them back up, and it was just, for me, it was like a responsibility to set them up for success, to teach them everything I did, teach them, and if I look at, all my recruits that I taught that were in my platoon specifically, they're doing amazing things in the Marine Corps, man. I could name them off, Hollis, Moore, Jimenez, Colorado. Just naming these random recruits that and they were my squad leaders, my guides, Harrington, Edwards. There's a few that I remember because I knew they were going to be good, and then they actually went on to be great, and then, even helping other drill instructors, teaching the new drill instructors that came I don't know when this is going to air, but this past weekend, one of my first, we used to call them Bobbies when they were new drill instructors. They were like the Bobby, but his name is Harrison, last name is Sean. He was a brand new drill instructor. He was in my platoon at the time. I was the kill knowledge hat, so I was teaching the knowledge and destroying recruits. And, that cycle, my senior was Staff Sergeant Sanchez. We had Staff Sergeant Warren teaching drill, and it was me and then him. And we won everything. That cycle, we took knowledge, we took PT, both of them. We took CFTs, best house. Like we killed it that cycle. And I taught him everything. He went on to be a chief. He did 10 cycles as a drill instructor. So he made way more Marines than I did. And he came up this week and we went out to the club, got some drinks, we just reminiscing and vibing. And so not only did I teach recruits, I taught drill instructors. I helped drill instructors. I never went to go to drill instructor school, but I taught the drill instructors that were new into the company, you know what I'm saying? And then going back to the fleet after all the knowledge that I gained as a drill instructor to go to teach Lance Corporal seminars, to teach corpus courses, to go be the honor graduates out of Staff Academy, to teach my peers and mentor my peers. And then my Marines and my freaking platoon itself, making them all meritorious Marines. I had one Marine, she was a PFC Quiles. She was a Puerto Rican Mexicana chick from the Bay Area. But when I came to the shop, I knew she was tight. I knew she wanted to do amazing things in the Marine Corps. She went from PFC to sergeant in a year and a half, all meritorious, because she just listened to everything that I told her, and she just grinded and worked her ass off. And now she's making, she actually had, this is the crazy part. So she was my ace. I could count on her for everything. She was grinding, getting promoted, teaching, inspiring the younger Marines. And now she's about to go be a drill instructor. And I know she's going to go make amazing Marines because of the shit that she learned from me and just who she is as an individual. So I love that feeling of being able to teach, coach, mentor, inspire, and just, what I'm saying? Like in the Marine Corps, you meet all types of people. Some of them don't want to be there. Some of them have to be there because they're trying to get to the next level in their life or whatever the case may be. But if you can, inspire 5 people in your career, and then those 5 inspire 5 who inspire 5, now you're creating I like to call it like a family tree that stems from who you were as a leader, and for me, it's always gonna be, my drill instructors were the first ones. And then, what they instilled in me, whatever I liked, I kept, whatever I didn't, I threw away. And then I brought that with me to who I am. And over the years, it evolves, it changes, it never stops. And all the Marines that I inspire, and I'm sure that I've inspired way more than 5 Marines. Way more than 5 Marines. Not only did I inspire like the Marines that were in my platoons, as a drill instructor, I would go to other companies, other platoons, and I would destroy their recruits, that they would see me in the fleet and be like, oh, you weren't my drill instructor, but I remember you came to my squad bay and you destroyed the house because we weren't screaming loud enough, So it was always about leaving a legacy that will be bigger than you when you're gone. Mm-hmm. Heroes get remembered, legends never die.
Word. So what I can remember about my career, because I did 16 years, and by the grace of the man upstairs, I just got back from Afghanistan, and they were plussing down because we were drawing back. So I went to Afghanistan as part of the retrograde to bring the gear back and all kind of stuff like that. And when we got back, they were just like, we got too many of y'all. So anybody who is over 15 years but under 20, you can retire early.
Yep.
I was like, whoa. First of all, because I knew what the vert package was. Some of them will get out early so they can go to school and stuff, and they come with severance, and they just kick them the hell out. But they was like, if you're over 15 and under 20, you can retire. I was like, retire? I mean, what do you mean retire? I mean, do you mean like I can draw a pension and medical benefits and things like that? There's like, yes, sir, you can retire. I was like, so I look at my LES and all that stuff. I was like, shit, I'm over 15. I'm under 20. Can I go, please?
Yeah, hell yeah.
So they hit me with the papers and everything. And I was just like, shit, I'm out. And it was just like a jarring thing or whatever.
You did your time though.
Yeah, but it was jarring as hell because, I grew up in the military family. So like unlike you, it wasn't a dare for me. It wasn't pushed on me as well. It was more like I grew up around this. My father, my brothers, my sisters, cousins, nieces, nephews, all of us have gravitated to the Marine Corps, Navy, Army, some branch of the military somehow, some way. So growing up as a kid, being way younger than all my brothers and sisters, all freaking what? There's 18 of us, and I'm the baby.
Yeah.
So I grew up with that in my life. And I was going against the grain at first. I was just like, nah, I ain't joining the military. Everybody in the military. Why I'm gonna do what everybody else doing? And
Right.
then as it got time to graduate, I wasn't doing it so hot in school. And I just didn't have a plan. And then you can feel me on this. I got somebody pregnant. So I was like,
feel you on that.
so I was like, well, Spencer's gifts and working at this casino in this little bum ass town that I'm from ain't gonna work. I was like, military's an option. I done seen it my whole life, man. They get free base housing, they get paid, they can buy Camaros and stuff with the money that they get,
I've had four.
You fit the criteria. You was made to be a Marine buying Camaro. Then you wanted a G-Wagon too, right?
I had a 2012, a 2015, a 2017. I got the 2021 drop top. I love them. It's my favorite car.
You still gonna get the G-Wagon?
I want a G-Wagon some days, and some days I want a Range. So it's gonna be one of those two for sure.
Yeah. So I joined up with the intention of, hey man, I'm gonna do this till I'm done, till I can't do it anymore. And as you know, you go in optimistic, bright-eyed, bushy tail, you step on them footprints, and you just like, this is life. I'm ready for this.
Yeah, you ready to rock.
And then you get about past that first enlistment, about 7 years in, and you're like, ugh, I don't know if I got the rest of this in me, dog. And it was just, that's kind of what it was. Because no lie, around year 12, I was about to hang it up. Like I lost all motivation. I was just like, I just didn't like where I was stationed. I just wanted to quit. I was going to walk away probably about 10, 12 years, no pension, no nothing, just walk away. Because I was that fed up with it. I was like, well, hell, maybe a change of scenery and a re-enlistment will change my mind. So I did that. As soon as I did it, poof, deployment. Deployment kind of motivated me. Then I came back, got done with it. And it was just like, you can either go to Hawaii or you can go to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri and be an instructor. I was like, ugh. Hawaii sounds nice. There's like, but wait, there's more. You go to Hawaii, as soon as you get there, you deploy. And I was like, shit, I just got back. Fort Leonard Wood it is. And then what brings it back around to that, my wife was in the Army. That's where they go to boot camp and do their AIT and all that other stuff in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Prior to meeting me, she swore to herself that she would never go back to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Then years later, she would marry a Marine that would take her back to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Full circle of life.
But yeah, shenanigans. I want to kind of breeze through some things because I know your time is a little bit limited and whatnot.
No worries, man. This is the first time I actually have a podcast where I talk mostly military stuff, so it's kind of cool.
Oh man, because as soon as I knew we had to talk. But the last thing I'm gonna get on before we kind of transition into wrestling a little bit, my last, not one of my last, but one of my lasting memories of Paris Island. I was on duty at SDO, and a part of that, we had the rifle range right across from the duty hut. So when the temperature change would come up, I had to go run the flags up the flagpole and everything, black flag, all the other crap, right? Yeah. So, once it's black flag, you can only IT so much.
Yeah.
So here I am, I'm going to range, putting the flags up, putting the black flags up, putting the black flags up. And I come around the barracks and they had a flagpole in the pit. And it was good. It was still good conditions for thrashing the recruit. And here I am. I pull up in the van, AC blasting, music blasting. I'm chilling. And I look across the parade deck. And there was this one recruit running full speed, just sprinting. And there was a drill instructor right behind him yelling, "Ah!" I don't know what he was saying. You know how that garbled yell is, just "Ah!" And I
Yeah.
see him running all the way across the parade deck. And I'm just sitting there with the freaking black flag in my hand, getting ready to run it up. And I'm just looking at it and I'm just in amazement. I was like, I never get tired of seeing a drill instructor thrash a recruit. And he's getting closer to me, and I'm just like, oh crap. And I look down, I was like, oh shit, I got the black flag up. And and I'm standing in the pit with the flag, getting ready to run it up. And once I put that black flag up, he can't thrash this recruit no more. So I look at him, he look at me, the recruit just thinking he's saved, right? Rolled up the flag, put it in my pocket, got back in the van. Let him thrash the hell out of that dude for a good 10 minutes.
Good, because the recruit probably deserved it. The recruit probably needed that training, you know what I'm saying? For however long we're allowed to thrash recruits, intensively train them is what we should say. He probably deserved it. Drill instructors, we make sure that when we're doing things, we do it the right way. We want to make sure that we train recruits accordingly with the, standard operating procedures of the recruit training order, whichever way you were looking at it. Back then it was the SOP, now it's the RTO. So the recruit needed it. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure the recruit's looking back now, wherever he's at, like, man, this one time, you know what I'm saying, this guy put the flag in his pocket and went away. But I learned this very important lesson during that time.
Oh, man.
It's all fun games, man. It's all love, man. We give 13 weeks, 7 days a week, 22-hour days to these recruits every day until they graduate, and then we get a week off if we're lucky, and then we're back at it again. But so it does get to us sometimes: the heat, the sweat, the lack of food, the lack of hydration as a drill instructor. But we still keep the Marine Corps mission in mind. So
yeah, word life. Now going back just through your catalog of professional wrestling and everything.
Yes.
There was one match in particular that I found. I forget what the name of the promotion was. I know it was like Fist or something like that. You were the champion there, and you had a match with Sammy Guevara in 2019. Yeah, in 2019. So this match was hilarious to me just because of the banter with the patrons inside the establishment that y'all had to match at. And then I look at that Danny Limelight compared to the one that's sitting in front of me, the one that I see recently here on TV week to week. That was still Marine you, boy.
Because,
I could see it in your face. I mean, it was just smooth as hell. The haircut was crisp, and it was just like the way you are now that I get to see on TV recently compared to that guy that I saw then. I mean, you still had a little bit of that DI in you there.
Yeah, because I had just left the drone for the duty. It was a very different person back then. But man, what a match that was with Sammy Guevara. Imagine if we were able to do that today somewhere big. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be insane. But back then, I was I think 147 pounds, maybe 150. Mm-hmm. And I was after trying to get my weight back up. As a drill instructor, I weighed 135 pounds. That's how malnourished I was.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, so that match was a fun match. It was my first time wrestling Sammy Guevara. And after the match, he says that it's going to happen again someday, somewhere big, because I'm that good. And, I asked Sammy about that, like about maybe 2 weeks ago, the last time I saw him. And I was like, do you remember this? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, you remember what you said? And he was like, yeah, I meant that shit, bro. Like, to me, Sammy's a dope dude, man. And that was a fun match. And I hope we get to do it again someday.
Word. I mean, shit, you hit on everything that I was about to ask you. I was like, how was that after,
Yeah.
But a couple of things that I want to hit at. Not only, when you teach, you also learn. Especially, if you have a boo-boo mentor or, leader, you learn from them too. You learn from their mistakes and, their poor leadership style and whatnot.
Yeah.
Getting into professional wrestling and, having all these different peers and, some that are senior to you, some of that, that are your equal, or some of that are even younger than you in the wrestling business. You learn from everyone. So I'm gonna name off some names. because of people that you have had matches with, and I want you to talk a little bit about it and let us know what you've learned in that instance. You already touched on a little bit with Sammy Guevara or whatever, so that was one of the names that I had. But another one, John Moxley.
I wrestled him twice, man. I wrestled him in the main event of Elevation, and I wrestled him in one of the 4 main events of Elevation the following week with Eddie Kingston. What I will say is that John Moxley is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he brought out the dog fight in me. I felt like that singles match was a fight. I felt like I was fighting death. I said it. It's like looking death in the mirror and saying, looking death in the eyes and saying, "Not today." He's the Death Rider. He's an amazing human being. Congratulations again on his baby on the way. I wish him and his wife Renee the very best. I learned so much from that match with John.
Word. Fuego del Sol.
Right, that's what he does. The tornado DDT or whatever. That was my first win in AEW. I learned that I was a winner. I learned that I can take out, I did a lot of moves in that match with Fuego that I can't do with a lot of people because of the size, the weight, and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I learned in that match that I can be aggressive. I can be more aggressive. I can take over a match. I could put the heat on somebody and really beat them down for, 6 to 8 minutes, man. And Fuego's a great dude. He's super talented. So hopefully this his career takes off soon in the right direction. He gets that contract that he deserves.
Word. Ray Phoenix.
Luke Shaw, bro, Animo, that's my boy, man. Shout out to Ray Phoenix, one of my best friends in the business. Shout out to his new star with his brother Penta, Mass Republic. I learned a lot in that match. What I learned in that match is that I could hang with the best luchador in the universe right now. That's the one thing I learned. I learned that I could go his style and compete at the highest level with him. And I learned that after the match, we had some words in the back. And it just made me love that dude that much more, man.
Word. Brian Cage.
The Machine. Who better, right? Who better than Cage? Brian's actually the man responsible for getting me over to AEW. A lot of people don't know this. He put in a good word for me to get me a chance. It was the first match that I had that kind of made me stand out to the right people. And it actually happened in front of a crowd right before Dynamite kicked off. It was like the dark match before Dynamite. And it was a 5-minute match, and I feel like it's one of the best 5-minute matches this last year. I learned a lot. He's a huge dude, man. He's super strong. I learned how to get out of a lot of things and to fight. Fight from the ground up, basically. Brian Cage is a great dude. Shout out to him and his wife Melissa and their beautiful little girl.
Mm-hmm. I had him on the show. I think right after she had the baby, so that was cool. All right, the last one I got on my list, TJP.
Oh man, I've wrestled TJP a few times now. We've had 2 singles matches, one on the independent scene right after he left WWE, and then one on my New Japan debut. Mm-hmm. TJ's a mentor of mine in the business. He's also one of my good friends. I talk to TJ a lot. I text him, I whoop his ass and cut pong on the phone. And I hit him about questions, things going on. I check on him, see how Aria's doing with her belly. They got a baby on the way. So blessings to TJ. But what I learned from TJ Perkins is that was the first match where I was like, that I felt, I was like, I can do this for a living and I can wrestle the best. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Super, super underrated. A lot of people, may not like him or do like him. There's like very far near in between. He doesn't care about any of that. All he cares about is his business, and he cares about teaching those that want to be taught. It's like he's somebody that I can hit up for ideas, that critique my matches. I remember before we even wrestled at New Japan, I had text him and I was like, "Hey man, can you watch this match and give me critique?" And he watched the whole match. It was like a 15-minute match, and he broke it down, basically almost by the minute mark for me. I've learned a lot from him, man. Even in New Japan, when I'm stepping into that cerulean blue and I'm wrestling TJ Perkins in my debut, and we had a banger. It was definitely one of my favorite matches in a long time. And TJ's great, man. He told me one time, he's like, you can't always hit a home run. Sometimes you got to take the walk and steal home. And that stuck with me forever. And then another time he told me, everybody in this business can eat without taking off anybody else's plate. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of person that he is, man. He loves his business and he wants to help all those around him. And I'm super grateful for TJ Perkins.
Word. So, man, yeah. I mean, good shit. So, I mean, amongst being a professional wrestler, I'm not going to say former Marine, former drill instructor, former map instructor. That's the only former that we can put on that. Vicky Guerrero, got daggone Excalibur. He ain't a former Marine, god damn it. So daggone, there's more to you than that. I mean, you're writing movies, you're writing short films, you're doing national commercials, you're putting your daughter on, she's doing commercials and everything. Yeah. I mean, you're doing mocap for video games, you've done stunt work for movies and all this stuff. I mean, there's so many dimensions and layers to Danny Limelight. And on top of that, at one point in time, you're on 4 different shows week to week, yes, doing professional wrestling. So with all this success that you've had thus far, you know, still relatively being young in your professional wrestling career, what do you feel is next? You know? Because, I mean, it's just like they front loaded you up front. They were just like, here, have the John Moxley match up here. Here, have the Kenny Omega match up here. Here, have all this stuff up front. I mean, once you have all those big moments and things or whatever, I mean, there's still room for improvement, but everything's up front. I mean, what's next?
The world, Chico, and everything in it. I'm never hungry. I mean, excuse me. I'm never satisfied. I'm always hungry. There's still so much more. Yeah, I've had a lot of great opponents, some of the best in the universe up front. There's still so many more people that I want to wrestle. There's still so many more companies that I want to wrestle at. There's still so many other things that I want to do, like PWG, you know, like just on the top of my head. I want to be, you know, in a Marvel movie, you know what I'm saying? I want to do it all. And I want to be in a movie with my daughter, you know, like a Hollywood blockbuster film. There's so many things that I want to do in life. I want to write a book, you know, that I've just been starting to put thoughts together for that. I'm a very ambitious dude, and there's still so much more in this life that I want to accomplish before it's all said and done. So I got works to do. You feel me?
Word. I mean, that's what this originally started out as. Is this podcast was a book idea, and I was just like, I don't like writing. I was sitting in front of the keyboard so much. I was like, why don't I just talk about what I did? And then here we are, 5 and some change later, still doing this stuff. You know.
That's how it is. Start with a dream. It was all a dream. I used to read for the magazines.
Yeah, but man, I wish we had a little more time. I know you got some things that you got to do. I got some appointments I got to be to, but it's been a pleasure just to chat with you, be in your presence, get to know you a little bit better. And man, I wish you the best in everything that you and your baby girl doing, man.
Rob, thank you so much for having me on your show, man. It's been a blast just reminiscing through the Marine Corps times and stuff like that. And I appreciate everybody listening at home. For those of you that are, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Danny Limelight. Check out ProWrestlingTees.com/Danny Limelight for all my merchandise. Check out Cameo.com/Danny Limelight for any personal videos you may need. Mi gente! Till next time.
Word. All right.